Space, the final frontier. So vast, so wondrous, so beautiful, so... Didn't I just do this a month ago? Well, either way, I love me a good space story. Sci-fi in general is just so amazing. Not just in its fascinating settings, but also in its ability to pretty much take any other genre, whether it be books, movies, TV shows, even music, and making it 100 times cooler by doing what it's doing, but in space. Western, horror, love, adventure, war. Whoa, that's a lot of war. What you say? And that goes for video games as well. I mean, just look at all the oldest titles and you'll see them all as white blocks on black backgrounds, which is already enough to make it look all spacey. So you might as well add some aliens and a spaceship, and look what you did. You just started one of the best forms of media in all entertainment. Science fiction and video games are like almost synonymous with each other, as they both kind of transport us to some other world, allowing us to explore the far reaches of what is to us the unknown. Using these weird looking technological boxes connected to a screen as a sort of gateway. But you know, maybe that's getting a bit too philosophical. Let's get to what you clicked on this video for. Oh yeah, we're doing this. Halo, a series of games that are some of my favorites. Starting in 2012-ish, my brother got ODST for our Xbox, and though the campaign scared the shit out of my child self, the multiplayer instantly became a staple at our house. Brothers versus cousins, it was some of the best video game experiences I had as a child. Though I would kind of fall off the series for a very long time after that. It wouldn't actually be till like high school where I'd even start to consider myself a real fan of the series, and most of that is because of Halo Custom Edition. Somebody snuck it into computer class one day, and that was pretty much all we did until the teacher finally gave a shit enough to shut it down. Though I think he only cared enough because somebody made him. If you're curious if that affected our grades in any way, well, for 99% of the class, it didn't. Because everybody else cheated and got A's. Except for me, who said it went against my principles. At 16 and ended up getting a D after studying and trying my hardest. Even the effing teacher wondered, why didn't you just cheat? And I have never trusted a higher authority since. But Halo was really fun, and we played a shit ton of it, sparking my interest in the series alongside my discovery of a certain comedic parody, leading me to pick up Anniversary and 3 for the 360, though in the in-between times I was playing a little bit of Halo 4 and 5's Forge on PC. Then when MCC finally came out on Steam in like 2019, that pretty much just locked it in my mind that Halo was one of my favorite series. Development for Halo started back in 1995, after Bungie had just released its hot new first-person shooter called Marathon. Marathon was developed on a modified version of the Doom engine, allowing its 2D sprites and visuals to appear as if it was 3D. Marathon followed a security officer as they tried to stop their space colony from being taken over by aliens. The game ended up being a huge commercial success, even being called the best action game of 1995 ahead of Doom 2's release. Marathon was released on the Macintosh and was basically revered as the system's answer to the PC's Doom franchise. And after that, it would become a bit of a mainstay with Apple products for a long time. After Marathon's success, it would be followed by 2 sequels, Marathon 2, Durandal, and Marathon Infinity. Bungie would have quite the success on their hands, and they were ready to get started on their next project. And after making 3 hit games based around humans versus alien conflicts, it was only natural that the team would move on to something new, something fresh. An alien versus human conflict. Bungie started work on their Marathon successor as a sort of extension on that series, which according to company co-founder Jason Jones would have turned out to be something along the lines of Quake. Concurrently, another team within Bungie were making their own version of Halo, internally dubbed Giant Bloody War Game, which would have featured more vehicular-styled combat, and the teams would flip-flop between Quake style and vehicle style till Halo finally settled on a real-time strategy game, or RTS for short. Now, as we all know, that wouldn't be what Halo would end up becoming, but it's funny how this idea would be revisited for the Halo Wars series of games. Well, after developing 2 RTS games known as Myth and Myth 2 Soulblight, Bungie would finally start work on their vision for Halo, using the Myth engine as a base. By 1998, the game would again shift in becoming more of a third-person shooter kind of thing, following this familiar-looking cyborg as he fought aliens in space. Pete Tamate, Bungie's then vice president, would then use his old connections at Apple to get the lead writer Joseph Staten and project lead Jason Jones an audience with Apple CEO Steve Jobs, who was so blown away by Halo that he wanted it at his Macworld event that took place in 1999, which is where the game pretty much became public knowledge as this cool game that Bungie was making that promised to have an open world, where you explored a floating ring in space, shooting bad guys in guerrilla-styled fights, and finding all kinds of cool alien creatures. Wait, why do I have Halo Infinite footage being played right now? Yep, things for Halo were looking bright. At least for those outside of the closed doors. For those behind them, Bungie was bugging the fuck out, since they pretty much were losing more money than they were making due to a glitch in Myth 2 that deleted people's files, and the team behind naming Halo were raising hell about what it should be called, with some wanting it to be called Santa Machine, and the others dead set on calling it Hard Vacuum. I'm dead ass, by the way. Those names were seriously considered, and you don't even want to know what the development name was. It was Monkey Nuts. Monkey Nuts! Why not Baboon Shaft, or Ape Sack, or Gorilla Balls while we're... Oh wait, that's a real game. Now, to get out of their money troubles, they decided to whore themselves out to Microsoft, who needed a new hit title for their upcoming Xbox. And as for the name, it was settled on that it would become Halo. Though, part of the team thought it sounded too much like women's shampoo, and they would have preferred Kris Kringle Blowjob, apparently. Well, now with the name decided, and a steady source of money coming in to help fund the studio, you'd think that everything would be smooth sailing from here, right? Well, no. No, it was not. At this point, you're probably like,
Hey Chubby, Halo wasn't a third-person strategy game. When did it officially start development as a first-person shoot?
now.
What?
Like right around the time of the purchase.
Wait, did Microsoft even know that Halo was going to be a shooter when they bought...
I don't even think Bungie knew at the time.
Oh. What? How long until the game had to come out? Jesus Christ.
Oh, to be a fly on a wall during any of the Halo games' development cycles. Bungie had to cut out the open world and plenty of plot elements to make sure Halo came out on time. Even the multiplayer was gutted, then added back in 6 months before release. And not to mention the fact that this was a first-person shooter on a console, which nowadays is nothing, but I want you to picture yourself as a first-person enjoyer during this time period. Outside of a few N64 titles, the genre was pretty much non-existent on consoles. First-person shooters were a PC game thing. There was no way for a controller with a dong to have as much precision as the PC's mouse-usy. So what Bungie was doing at the time was safe to say a Herculean task. But they had an idea. You see, games like GoldenEye on the N64 had tried an experimental control scheme for console. Twin stick. Instead of just using one joystick and a D-pad, which was kind of ass, You could use 2 sticks instead, which allowed for much freer movement and aiming without having to choose which one to handicap. The only problem was, however, is if you wanted to do it, you pretty much had to double handjob 2 N64 controllers, which, let's just say, was awkward and clunky. But the Xbox had a modern controller that came complete with twin sticks, so it was the perfect piece of hardware to try this new idea on, with a generous amount of aim assist added to help bridge the gap from PC. Now, Halo may have been inspired by games like Quake and Doom, but Halo wasn't as fast-paced as those games, which led to a problem. Since in those games, you were running around like a madman at all times, it was easy for the devs to put health packs all over the arena to help keep a constant stream of life to the player. But Halo is a much slower game, so to make sure that the player didn't just rush into a fight and pray to find a health pack, the player was given a rechargeable shield that would protect their main health, which forced the player to take cover and watch enemy movements to try and learn their patterns. Especially since, unlike in Doom or Quake, the player was limited to only 2 weapons at a time, meaning they had to get good with what they had on hand or whatever the enemies did, which made them resourceful. This would go on to revolutionize how most modern shooters would treat health systems and weapon systems even to this day. Halo really evolved how combat in a first-person shooter worked, which is one of the many reasons it's still as revered as it is to this day. In fact, that's part of the reason why it's called Halo Combat Evolved. That and the marketing team didn't like the name Halo. Now I'm wondering how this game would have sold if it was called Monkey Nuts Combat Devolved. Probably like 20 times better. Now, Halo wouldn't be half the game it is if it wasn't for the level design. Halo levels are designed as a sandbox, basically a play area filled with fun gimmicks, weapons, tools, and enemies that can have a variable type effect on one another. You have different weapons and vehicles being provided to give a player multiple ways to approach a level, to the levels themselves being somewhat non-linear with either multiple objectives being active at the same time, or allowing the player to skip a majority of a level if they already know where they need to go. Though this does tend to allow glitches to appear more often than not. But honestly, that just kind of feels like another part of the sandbox. It's so funny when it affects real-time cutscenes and suddenly we have Schrodinger's keys, somehow dying and flying the getaway ship at the same time. These levels are at their most fun when you're just dicking around with different elements of the sandbox to do some wild shit, like fitting a warthog in a tight-ass hallway, or getting a banshee to fly straight to the end of the level, or maybe using a tank to blow the entire Covey battalion to Kingdom Come! Get shit on, you split-mouthed motherfuckers! I really like tanks, if you couldn't tell. But hey, back to those split-mouth, well, that's gotta be a slur. The NPCs in this game, whether they be helpful or hostile, are peak. The Marines are helpful little smart alecks that consistently take the piss out of most of the player's actions. As companions in battle, they aren't the most helpful, but they talk a lot of shit, so it's so funny to watch them bitch about you taking their kill, or go wahoo as you make a jump in the warthog. I love these assholes. It's not a real Halo game if there isn't a moment where you get to mount up with a squad of these dipshits, and then watch the chaos unfold as they either immediately get themselves killed, or they do something fucking awesome, and then they say the perfect one-liner. Did you guys know the villain from Alvin and the Chipmunks voices these guys? That little tidbit has been eating me up inside for who knows how long now. When I first put 2 and 2 together, I took psychic damage for a week straight, imagining the chicken guy with a chipmunk obsession doing the Marine dialogue.
Let's see. Our colonies are blown to hell, the Covenant have found Earth, and our last best hope is a guy in green metal underoos with serious friendly fire issues. I'm great!
And the pinnacle of all the Marines is Sergeant Johnson. We'll get a lot more of him later on in the series, but what we get of him now is phenomenal. Top 10 favorite characters right here. He's the wisest to ever crack. Even with all those ridiculous little one-liners he says, he always comes out the most respectable character in whatever room he's in. But again, he'll become more integral later on, so we'll talk about him more later on. But damn, he makes one hell of a first impression. But those are just the helpful NPCs. What about the ones we fight? Well, you see, the Covenant troops are just as talkative as the Marines, even when it comes to some of their weird-ass gargles. But what makes them special is in gameplay. There are 4 types of Covenant troop. We got grunts, which are the small guys that go down easily, but are perfect for distracting the player or surprising them with a rocket slime straight to the face. The jackals, which are more intelligent than the grunts, and their shields making them a bit more of a pain to go down, but again, they're just more of a distraction for the other 2 types of troops to really pick off the player. Such as the elites, who are smart enough to dodge out of the way when you press the attack, and strong enough to take on the chief in 1v1 combat, especially if they're wielding a blade, which is a one-hit kill for the player. Oh, and don't think you can just stick them with a sticky grenade and run, cause they have no problem letting it blow them up as long as you're in the blast radius. They will rush your ass. And then we have the hunter, who's the muscle of the party, packing tons of explosive power in their surprisingly fragile bodies, but that's what their impenetrable armor is for. And while you're focused on their overwhelming strength, that's when the rest pile in to take advantage of you. The enemies in Halo are dynamic. You can play a level 100 times and their plan of attack will be different. It even throws me off in some cases, and I've played this game a shit ton. It's actually really impressive with how their AI reacts to the player. However, they are not invincible. Grunts are fucking stupid. If you kill their leader, they immediately start panicking and won't even fire as they run in circles. And if you stick them with a sticky grenade, they just run towards the other enemies for help, killing them all in the process. It's hilarious. Jackals tend to panic like the grunts do, but that shield still makes them tough to kill. Unless you know how to make them drop their guard by either shooting their other hand, staggering them for a second, or busting the shield with plasma fire. Elites don't really have any obvious weaknesses, but they tend to gain them whenever they are a specialized unit. Sword elites can only kill you up close, and they take the shortest path to you, which, lucky for us, is a straight line right in front of your gun. So as long as you don't take your eyes off of them, they're easy pickings. And the invisible ones trade out their shields for stealth, which makes them much more vulnerable. Just watch out for odd shifting in the environment and you'll see these guys coming. Hunters are still fragile. Halo's gameplay does have its flaws, however. Most of the platforming in the game can feel really unintuitive to straight up awful. I know this type of gameplay isn't really what the devs had in mind for Halo, so it just kind of feels strange whenever it's in a level. Like, this jump in particular is always a pain in the ass for like no reason. I'm not sure if it's the container's model or maybe Chief's movements on it, but somehow 90% of the time I press the jump button on this thing, Chief either doesn't jump at all or does like a half jump. I'd ask how this part got past QA, but if what I read about the deadlines is true, then yeah, I can. The Warthog stuff can be pretty wonky as well. Look, I get that part of the fun is that this thing handles like butter in a hot pan, but whenever you have to do something precise with it, like make a jump, it becomes a huge pain in the ass. I love the Warthog run as a set piece. It's iconic. But as a gameplay element, it's annoying, and sadly this is not the only example of this in Halo. But we'll talk about them later. But what's a shooter game without weapons? That was rhetorical, but I appreciate the creativity. The weapon selection is amazing. Most of the iconic weapons of the series are here, though a few of them are exclusive to the enemies, or they're missing a few of their traits they'll get from later games. Still, you do have a good mix of close range to long range options, including 2 types of grenades and a few specialty weapons to keep the gameplay feeling unique and fresh. Though again, some of the more unique weapons aren't at their best in this first title. But you know what weapon is at its best here in this first title? The Magnum! God bless! This here is my favorite gun in Halo and gaming in general. What looks to be a normal little sidearm, well, it's not little, this thing is way too fucking bulky to be little, but what looks to be a normal sidearm is actually the most reliable gun in the whole series. Not strongest, mind you, though you could totally make an argument for it, but it's definitely the most reliable. It's got a decent magazine, it can hit hard up close and at long ranges, and this thing will kill anything with one headshot as long as it's not shielded. The Magnum is so damn good, they spent the rest of the series neutering this bitch into oblivion. It's mostly useless from the next game forward, though there are 2 other Magnums in this series that I like just as much as this one. But fuck dude, this is where it peaks. And if the power wasn't enough, the design is amazing. It's too bulky to be realistic, but as a sci-fi gun, I love it to death. Especially when you get that black cherry skin in the MCC version, ooh. What can I say, I'm totally into bulky ass models in old games. It's kinda like my aesthetic in a way, and Halo is full of blocky designs. Speaking of, the visuals of the levels are amazing, being so colorful yet so alien. It really gives them all this unique feel. Halo uses a lot of greens contrasted with purples. It's trying to give you the familiar earthy feeling with all the green foliage and natural landmarks on the ring, while also making itself not like Earth at the same time with all the strange lights, purplish fogs, and brutal alien architecture of the ring being so contrast to what we know on Earth. I'd say this applies to not just the levels, but the 2 sides of the conflict as well. The green, helpful Marines, and the purple, villainous Covenant. Green and purple are excellent contrasting colors that really pop up against one another. It's truly the work of a master designer to use such a contrasting color scheme. Like, who would even think to do something so brilliant and excellent, and oh, who put that there? Ah, you little rascals. But really, Halo does look phenomenal in its color palette and level design. It has aged, but I like the games of this era with their blocky visuals. To me, this blocky look is kind of like an aged wine or cheese, you know? And I know a lot of people feel the same way, as you can see the look mimicked in plenty of indie games, and I just love how those look as well. Though I admit the ring can feel a little bit empty. Those cut weird little teacup T-Rexes and some of the other creatures really could have helped in that regard. What the fuck? Wolves? What do you mean wolf? That is not a fucking dog, bro. And then we get to Halo's music, which is phenomenal. Like seriously, what else am I supposed to say? You've heard it before, that religious choir being behind some of the most awesome sci-fi rock. It's unfathomably amazing. Like, I don't know what deity or demon that Marty O'Donnell sold part of his soul to get this type of melodic ambrosia, but like, dude, him and his team just knock it out of the fucking ballpark. I really got nothing else to add. Just listen to the soundtrack, especially that main theme. It literally speaks for itself. Something else that speaks for itself is that multiplayer. To call it influential would be the understatement of the century. Can you believe that they almost had to cut it? Halo with no multiplayer? Talk about a dark timeline, that would have been miserable. And as much as the campaign is as phenomenal as it is, Halo would never be where it is without that multiplayer to hook people in for the long term. Halo CE's multiplayer, when not just compared to the other Halos, but in all of multiplayer gaming, is probably in my top 2, taking either spot depending on the day. I'm serious, by the way. I consider this the Mario Party of shooters. It's a bit jank, but it's overall just a solid multiplayer. Big team battle on Blood Gulch, or any of those maps that are the size of a small country, are so awesome. Capture the Flag, King of the Hill, Deathmatch, oh my god. I just love it. Though most of the stuff from the multiplayer, including its online compatibility, comes from the Gearbox port of Halo, which included new maps, mod tools, and even new weapons in the fuel rod gun and the flamethrower. So thanks Gearbox for introducing online multiplayer to Halo, And also for being the sole reason the original would be kneecapped in visual quality in all re-releases till 2021. The fuck, man? Though maybe they're not really to blame as much as the other port of Halo, the Anniversary Edition. Oh my god, look, I'm not qualified to go into extreme detail as to why the Anniversary version of Halo is stinky doo-doo dog ass, but I can tell you my own personal thoughts on it. It was a poor first impression. You see, the Anniversary version was created by 343 as their first release as the new heads of Halo. Well, more like it was headed up by 343. It was actually Saber Interactive who were really the ones making the sausage for this project. They were given the instructions to make a new version of Halo with the exact same level design, enemies, dialogue, gameplay, the same damn game, just a new coat of paint. And let's just say the timetable they were given to make it was strict.
Hey, that sounds familiar. I bet Bungie would have had a ton of good advice on how to...
They were forbidden.
What?
Microsoft was still in mourning after their little divorce with Bungie, so they literally stopped all communication with Bungie.
But this was a Bungie game. Why would they even... wait, hold on. How much time did they have to make this again? Oh, what the fuck?
Well, with incredibly limiting factors weighing on their conscience, Saber did their best to make a new version of Halo CE. And by that, I just mean they slapped a half-assed coat of paint on it. Given the time frame and artificial factors weighing on them, they really didn't have the time to do their best work. And they were even forced to rip assets from Reach and 3 to help development go faster. But before I go into detail on why it's pretty much worse than the original, I have to give it to Saber. Their idea of having two separate versions of a game running at once that the player could switch between at any time was actually really freaking genius, and it's like a miracle it works as well as it does. It's probably the most impressive feature I've ever seen in a remaster, remake, fucking anything. It's just too bad that the new visuals are, for the most part, kind of a downgrade. A lot of the color schemes of the original levels were practically ruined. A lot of the Forerunner stuff is now overly detailed and looks ridiculous. A lot of the horror elements of the campaign are completely ruined by the bright color scheme, just straight up revealing shit you're only barely supposed to see. But at the same time, all the colors are so muted, it's now harder to see the enemies that are shooting at me. The nighttime levels look like they're in the middle of the day, the cutscenes look cheap and broken, and the new visuals don't match the level geometry they're layered on top of. Meaning you have what looks like to be a clear shot, but nope, fuck you and fuck your health checkpoint. Honestly, there are some really cool looking design changes made in Anniversary that I do like from a visual standpoint. But they don't match the context of the level and the stories they're layered on top of. And if you decide to switch to old graphics, you're met with the Gearbox shit, which has its own fucked up changes. It really sucks, cause at the time, Saber was a small studio who were huge fans of Halo. Their head at the time even said it was an opportunity that they could not miss. I do feel really bad for Saber in this situation. It must have been a heartbreaking development for those poor Halo fans. But thankfully, they got a second chance and they fucking knocked it out of the park. But we'll go over all that next time. Nowadays, we have the MCC version, which thankfully fixed a lot of these issues, at least in the Halo CE part of Halo Anniversary. And it adds in all kinds of new cool cosmetics, more accessible ways to play the multiplayer online, skulls that let you remix the original's experience, and even mods if you believe it. No doubt in my mind, if you want to play Halo, get the MCC, it's so fucking good. Though the PC version can't do local co-op, which is stupid, but hey, one problem out of a whole bunch ain't too bad. Just make sure you're playing the recent version of MCC, because if you're playing the launch, Spark have mercy on your poor soul. Honestly though, if you ever get the chance to play a Halo campaign in co-op, you definitely should. Some of my best Halo memories come from these, and I've never even beaten a campaign this way. We always just start doing something else that's funny, and the Halo sandbox is perfect for this. It's just so amazing. Oh hey, I guess it's time for story. Skip here to avoid all story spoilers for Halo CE and Anniversary. Halo has got an amazing story, and I really think you should see it for yourself, so if you haven't played it, skip here. If you have played it, settled in. This is why this video is so fucking long. The year is 2552 CE of the Galactic CE? Aw, y'all think you're funny, don't ya? Anyway, it's a long time in the future, and we see a huge ship hopping out of slip space. The ship is called the Pillar of Autumn, and it's owned by the UNSC, the United Nations Space Command. Basically the human faction of the current in-space war between the UNSC and the Covenant, a religious group of aliens trying to wipe out any race that doesn't believe as they do. The Autumn had just jumped from a planet called Reach, which was being invaded by the Covenant, though we'll learn more about that another time. The Autumn was doing its best to escape the pursuing Covenant ships, but it had to stop due to the damages it sustained in battle. Lucky for them, they happen upon a strange ring world that they may be able to escape to. The captain of the ship, Keyes, tries to weigh his options with the ship's AI named Cortana, but the Covenant were able to outspeed the Autumn, ambushing them in orbit of the ring. With the ship's damages being too severe, the captain decides that he needs the help of the recently freezer-burned Master Chief to help repel the Covenant and keep Cortana safe from their alien hands. Chief fights his way through the Covenant on the Autumn, saving as many Marines as he can before launching towards the ring in an escape pod, with the captain and his burning ship close behind. As Chief wakes up on the ring world, he is met with a half dozen of corpses. He was the only survivor of his escape pod. But what happened to the others, you ask? Well, you see, Chief was the only thing on the pod that wasn't strapped down, and due to the turbulence of the crash and the fact that he's in a 10-ton suit, it stands to reason that he probably...
Double kill, triple kill, overkill, kill, tack kill, Trosset, Kilimanjaro. Holy shit!
Hey, I know that's just a fan theory, but you can't tell me that's not what happened. Now on the surreal ring world with its formations that clearly aren't natural, Chief and Cortana need to find a way off of it, saving as many Marines as they can from the Covenant soldiers, who seem to have a strange interest in this floating ring. Well, a stranger interest than, a normal amount of strange interest that would come from seeing a fucking artificial ring world, but, still strange. I talked a little bit about voice acting earlier, but you want to know who carries this series' voice work?
Sure. The entire fucking cast. Every one of them do a great job, and even the characters people don't like are still voiced fucking good. But you want to know who...
I don't know how to segue into this. Steve Downes' Master Chief and Jen Taylor's Cortana are not just the heart of CE's story, but most of the franchise as well. Their banter between each other, the way they bicker, the way they're both just in sync. Master Chief being a man who acts like a machine, and Cortana, the machine who acts like a human. It's a really fun dynamic that grows throughout the series in a lot of different ways. Some interesting, some controversial, and some... But for Halo CE, it's more of a comedic double act that really fixed the "Oorah, shoot those motherfuckers!" that the first half of the campaign revels in, with its typical war movie type scenarios and Chief and Cortana getting to be the smart aleck heroes, just fighting through it all together. Their dynamic is so fun that Microsoft even gave you at home a way of mimicking it with its own version of Siri, in your own version of Cortana, who even has Jen Taylor voicing it. Which, is kind of interesting, but too bad they got rid of it in 2013. Well, maybe not too bad. I don't know anyone who uses these AI assistant things. But wait, first half of the campaign, if the first half is the typical war stuff set in space, then what's the other half? Well, my friends, that is when Halo goes from great to fucking stellar. As Chief and Cortana are fighting across the ring, they happen upon the ring's control room. And at first things are going well, you know, they're bantering back and forth, Cortana's sharing information about the ring that they now know as Halo, and Master Chief's all like, "That's neat, but what kind of weapon is it and how do we use it to kill the Covenant?" You know, cause he's just a soldier and that's kind of all he is right now. Cortana calls him a barbarian and says that the Covenant are right, that this Halo is something special and was probably created by the Forerunners. And before Chief and the audience get a chance to ask what the hell a Forerunner is, Cortana starts reading off more information with the music slowly growing more sinister. Shout out again to that soundtrack, it's 10 out of 10 work. But then Cortana reads about a thing the Covenant found and it's freaking them out for some reason. And then she starts doing that thing. You know that thing when you're reading an article or something on your phone in front of a group of people, and they're just watching as your face slowly just turns as you're reading, and it's like, it starts with a oh, and then it goes to oh, and then it goes, oh, fuck. And Chief is like, what? And Cortana's like, there is no time to explain. You gotta stop Case from opening Pandora's box. You gotta haul ass, man. And Chief is like, Roo-roo. And Scooby-Doo runs out of there. It's hilarious. But it's also crazy because this whole time there's like no tension, or at least no tension like this. This is supposed to freak the player out a bit. Cortana went from her usual confident self to freaking the fuck out. I didn't even know AI could feel fear, but she just did. Here's another spoiler warning for y'all. The next half of the game is way better experienced on your own. Trust me, it's worth it. The next level starts with the Covenant running for their lives, and it's this dark, foggy swamp area. Unless you're in Anniversary, in which it's all bright and neon, which actually looks really cool, but you know, it kind of fucks up the mood, guys. And as Chief is making his way through the swamp, he keeps seeing these friendly tags on his radar that fade out as quickly as they appear. But if you manage to catch a glimpse of them, they don't look human at all, which is so freaky. Even freakier when you get to the underground bunker and there's blood fucking everywhere. And it's only Covenant soldiers lying on the ground. Yeah, it's not human blood, but it's blood all the same. And there is no signs of human activity anywhere. What did all of this? And as Chief goes through these blood-stained halls, witnessing this strange green fog and this massive test tube lava lamp thing, he finally finds something he can talk to. It's a Marine! You know, the Marines, those lovable goofballs that are always so happy to get into action and fight alongside the Master Chief.
Stay back! Stay back! You're not turning me into one of those things! I'll blow your brains out! Get away from me! Don't touch me, you freak.
Yeah, whatever did all of this turned our happy-go-lucky companions into a sniveling mess on the floor, begging not to be taken, screaming and crying like the devil himself came to steal him away. Okay, now things are getting real. Real quiet, that is. As it is nothing but silence since you either left the screaming Marine to his fate, or you heard the gunshot you used to put him out of his misery. And after walking these silent, cold, once sterile, twice stained corridors, you're met with the final piece of the puzzle that makes all of this make sense. As the music finally starts to play again, Chief opens a door with the corpse of a Marine falling on top of him. He carries the poor thing out of danger as he takes the Marine's body cam footage to shine some light on what happened. Everything starts out great. The Marines are in the Pelican talking shit and listening to the Halo version of Fortunate Son. It's the typical ooh rah! But then they head inside the bunker and they start taking the same steps Chief did. They find blood and they find dead Covenant well, they do if they actually spawn in the cutscene.
Friend of yours?
Yeah, imaginary maybe. But it's all the same steps except for one. The last one. Chief watches as all the Marines are overrun by a horrific parasitic creature that morphs their corpses into horrifying blob monsters before the video cuts out. and Chief sees he's in the exact same room, and now the monsters are after him. Chief does his best to cut through the ever-increasing ranks of monsters as he tries to escape the bunker, and he even witnesses the beast cut through Marines and Covenant alike. For everyone he kills, 2 more pop up from behind him to try and kill him, and take his unstoppable Spartan corpse. As Chief brings the fight above ground, he is met with some unexpected help in the ring's very own defense system, the Sentinels, and their leader, the Monitor, also known as 343 Guilty Spark. Spark tells Chief that he has a way to combat the Flood, but he'll need Chief's help, or as he says, the Reclaimer's help. Who's the Reclaimer? No time to ask, as the two have to hurry up, because if they don't stop the parasite, now known as the Flood, they will find a way off the ring and will devour the whole galaxy. Those are some huge fucking stakes, my dude. The Monitor teleports Chief and him to the library, a place where a certain key is located that will activate Halo, which will wipe the Flood from existence. Chief fights his way through the Flood-infested library, with the Monitor just kind of goofing around like this all isn't a huge deal, and keeps complimenting his own genius and even the fact that his creators thought keeping Flood symbols on the ring was a wondrous thing for science. He even fucking laughs when you die. What is this dodgeball's problem? Also, he keeps alluding to the fact that the Chief is underpowered to face the Flood and he should have been better prepared due to protocol. And it's like, what are you talking about, dude? Well, after obtaining the index, hey! Rude ass. Well, Chief and the Ball get the index, so they head back to the main console, and here we get one of my favorite character interactions in Halo. As Chief is about to press the button, activating the ring and flushing out the Flood, Cortana pops out and is like, "The fuck y'all doing?" And Chief's like, "We're about to kill the Flood and save the universe." And Cortana's like, "Oh, did he tell you that? Your new little friend? Your buddy? Your pal? Your new dodgeball partner? Did he also so happen to tell you how it kills the Flood?" And Chief is like, "Well, I guess not." And the Monitor is freaking the fuck out because this is not how this happened last time. Wait, last time? And then Cortana proceeds to explain a devastating plot twist. The ring doesn't kill the Flood. It starves them to death. As in, it kills its food. Which is us. This fucking thing kills all sentient life in the galaxy down to the fucking amoebas. Chief obviously turns on the Monitor because that would have been key information to have before he pressed the doom switch, and the Monitor is losing it. He's dead looking at Chief like, "You didn't have a problem with this before, Reclaimer. You asked me if I was in your shoes, would I do it? Would I press the button?" Cortana plugs back in the Chief and snatches the key and is like, "We gotta go now." It took over 1 billion years of pondering, and my answer has
Never changed.
And like that, we now have a 4-way fight for the ring. The Covenant, the UNSC, the Flood, and now the Monitor, with Chief right there in the middle of it all. The next few levels are fucking crazy, as Chief is now fighting 3 factions of enemies at once. Lucky for him, the 3 don't really like each other either, so they'll kill each other just as fast as they would Chief. Though don't break a sweat, if you're in the vicinity, they'll all dogpile your ass. So don't be afraid to pull a Godzilla and
Let them fight.
This second half is as chaotic in story as it is in gameplay, for better or worse. There's no getting around this. The Covenant are expertly developed to be fun and interesting to fight. To do that for 3, technically 4 if you ever go rogue, factions would be a huge ask. Which is why they didn't. The Monitor's group is fine, it's just the one kind of Sentinel and they're pretty easy to take down, and they even give you its weakness in plasma weapons the first mission you fight them. And if you don't have a plasma gun, then don't worry, they're slow as fuck, making them easy targets. As long as you don't let them gang up on you, they're not too bad. The Flood are fucking awful to fight. Since I already mentioned plasma weapons, let me clue you in on the difference between human and Covenant weapons. Forgive me as I am not an expert on this, but I do know enough to explain my points. Human weapons are for the most part fast hit-scan projectiles, perfect for shredding up an enemy health bar. Covenant weapons are for the most part slow-moving and very visible compared to the human weapons, but in exchange they do a lot more to shields. And since a lot of the enemy forces carry plasma weapons, it gives you a chance to pick up their weapon and give you a better means of destroying shielded enemies like elites or jackals. The fast hit scan weapons were made with the inherent inaccuracy a human player has in mind, and that's why they shred things so fast. The Covenant weapons are made to be slow enough to be avoidable if you're a good enough player, due to the inherent accuracy an AI-controlled character has. Now, what if you had a perfect accuracy AI with a fast-moving, nigh unavoidable human weapon? And there was like 20 of them in a cramped-ass room. You'd get fucked, that's what. The Flood are awful to fight. They have a huge advantage that the player cannot account for. And in levels like the library, they are literally never ending. If this was a movie, these would be the most terrifying creatures ever, but since this is a game and I have to deal with them, they are nothing but an ever-expanding migraine of an enemy. Fuck these guys, fuck the invisible ones, and fuck those goddamn rocket floods. I cannot count how many times I've turned a corner just to be met with a rocket that I had no feasible way of knowing was there. I'd ask if they had time to playtest this part of the game, but you already know they fucking didn't. The Flood comes so close to ruining Halo. In gameplay, I mean. In story, they are really interesting and I love everything about them. Especially when they get a voice in the next game. The Flood as a storytelling concept, I'm convinced is the sole reason anyone wants these fuckers back. They suck. Well, after escaping the reach of the Monitor, Cortana tells Chief that they need to destroy the ring while the Flood is still on it. So they come up with a plan to blow up the Autumn, which should cause enough of a domino effect that will destroy the whole ring. But first, they need a little help from Captain Keyes, who's, let's say, seen better days. The Flood took over his body and mind, so they can use his memories to learn how to fly ships off the ring. Yep, they absorb memories and skill sets by eating people. Jesus Christ, that's horrifying. So Chief puts another friend out of misery while also grabbing the keys to the Autumn systems. Oh, come on, that's kind of funny. By the way, the hole we put in him is grotesque in the anniversary version, and I love it. After obtaining Key's cybernetic implants, Cortana and the Chief make it to the ship just to see that everyone has beaten them to the punch. Flood, Covenant, Sentinels, they're all here and they're all trying to get in your way. Especially the Monitor, who I guess is invincible cause, you know, fuck you. After an infuriating grenade puzzle that either takes between 5 to 40 minutes depending on factors that are out of my control. Seriously, the one time I could use a rocket flood and it's nowhere to be seen. Come on. Anyway, the Autumn is set to blow, so Chief and Cortana hop into a Warthog and race across the exploding vessel. On the way, they meet up with an old friend named Foe Hammer, who dies. You know, I should probably be feeling like kind of sad right now, but honestly, I'm just trying to figure out where this weird bridge piece is on the Autumn. Anyway, Chief and Cortana make it to an old starfighter, escaping Halo as it explodes, lamenting all of those who have died, and the fact that they are the only survivors. Well, them and like 3 other people. Cortana sighs and says that at least it's all over, but Chief takes off his helmet and corrects her, saying that this is only the beginning. And that's the story of Halo. The second half is kind of whack, but only in a gameplay sense. In a story sense, it takes an amazing story and just shifts into turbo. Oh! But you know, there is a lot of like lore drops that aren't really explained all that well. Like, what are the Forerunners and all this Reclaimer stuff? And what exactly is the UNSC and the Covenant? That stuff was kind of just duct taped over when Bungie had to gut the game to release it on schedule. But honestly, those kinds of things would have kind of bogged down the story in my opinion. So I think it was a wise decision to kind of just throw the player into the middle of a galactic war and let shit get crazier as they go along. Letting the future titles and spin-off books just kind of fill in those details, at least for now. Kind of like how Star Wars did when the first movie came out in 1999. Fourth movie? It has 1 in the title! I wouldn't really recommend this for your first playthrough, but maybe on a second or third, I'd recommend checking out the terminals added in the Anniversary Edition. They go into some cool lore stuff behind the monitor and how he went crazy, and it's really interesting. But I could totally see a first-timer just not understanding any of this terminal shit. So maybe just watch them after you get into Halo a little more. I think my favorite one is with Keyes being possessed by the Flood. It is, Jesus, something you've got to see for yourself. Halo CE is fantastic, even to this day. Gameplay, fantastic. Level design, fantastic. The designs of everything in general, it's fantastic. Most of the enemies are great. The story and characters are literally iconic. I highly recommend the original Halo, especially the MCC version. It's got the most content with even more on the way, including some of the beta elements of Halo, which is incredible. Plus online multiplayer and mods, so duh. It'll run you about $10 on Steam and about $40 on Xbox, since you can't buy the 4 main Halos separately on that platform. But hey, if that's too much for you, don't worry, because MCC is on sale more often than not, so if you're looking for it, you'll definitely find it for cheap. If you get the chance, Halo CE is definitely worth it. Especially if you got yourselves one of these Duke controllers. I low-key have always wanted to try one of these puppies out, but it was before my time. Though thankfully, Hyperkin came out with a modern version that even has little extra shoulder buttons added on. If you're not interested in the official extra buttons, but honestly, I don't care, I use them both. I am low-key sad that the original color got sold out. I mean, I got the color green and I like it, but that original was really nice, and so was the Cortana one that I could have got, but I said no, cause, I don't know, green is more Xboxy to me. And I can't tell you why, but I hate how this one looks. I mean, it's both of my favorite colors in one controller, but I just hate how it looks. Also, fuck. Man, if you can put aside the fact that your hands will hurt after using this thing for like 30 minutes, I think you'll find that the Duke is peak controller design. It's like holding a brick with buttons, and I love it. Halo CE was built with this controller in mind, and it just feels so right to play it this way. MCC even has a Duke button layout specially for this, so it's like the official best way to play Halo. And that's coming from a nasty ass bumper jumper like me. I don't know what kind of crack Japanese devs were on in the early 2000s to look at this controller and go, ew. But their lack of brutalist and straight dog shit design sensibilities has forever stained the industry, and I will never forgive it. Who wants a comfy controller with HD rumble that does nothing but waste the fucking battery, when you can have a neon brick that hurts to hold? We have gone backwards in controller design, and it pisses me off. I've used this for Pokemon, Halo, Metroid, Exoprimal. This shit is top tier, and I won't hear any different. And as long as we're on the subject, I should just make a whole fucking video about this. I should do that. I literally miss some of these older controllers. The Wiimote and its weird dildo shape fucking, that shit was amazing. And also the gamepad, like you can't tell me, the gamepad, nobody used it for shit, but it was cool. Fuck. Halo's great, go play it.